too, man.
All right. Whoa, is that the right volume? Someone give me a sign. Thank you guys for coming out. This is awesome. I'm pretty excited to share a story with you guys about one of my early on hunting experiences. And, well, it means a lot to me. I hope you find it interesting. Should I wait for the train?
Yes! Yes.
Truck yeah!
Truck yeah!
John, what are you doing?
Okay, I think we're...
Yep.
So, I did not grow up hunting and fishing like what seems to me now most normal individuals. I grew up in the Midwest. I'd spent a lot of time in the outdoors, but hunting and fishing were not among them. When I moved to Colorado about 18 years ago, I eventually met the love of my life, Casey McQuiston, who introduced me to hunting. Casey! The first hunt he ever took me on, he called an elk right into me, like 40 yards. And I thought it was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen, so I was pretty hooked after that. So loving the outdoors and challenges and all manner of things, we chose to spend one of the gifts that you get when you work in New Belgium for a certain amount of time, 10 years, is a paid sabbatical for 4 weeks. We spent 4 weeks backpacked in a spike camp in a different unit than we normally hunt by ourselves, and we wanted to explore it and, you know, learn new things and just be outside for as much time as we could. So that year was amazing. That season was amazing. And I had an opportunity to shoot my first elk that season. And it was like a giant. But I lost it. So I took a shot on this elk and we tracked it. I had Casey and his brother Curtis help me track it. And I lost it. And I was mortified, like devastated. Way more than the first time I took a hook out of a fish's mouth and it made me cry. Anyway, the next year we were glad to be back in an area that we normally hunt with all of our friends and be able to hunt with friends. And we parked our camper where we were going to stay for the next 2 weeks in this like crappy little pullout on the side of the National Forest Road in the National Forest, which we always camp in the National Forest. And you know, we thought, oh, we'll be mobile, we'll be able to just go wherever and hunt with our friends. It'll be great. So the next day, Casey had planned to hunt with his brother, Curtis. He had a muzzleloader tag for the first time, and that was going to be awesome. So I was going to end up hunting by myself, which was fine. I felt good about it. And I had planned to hunt somewhere that I was really familiar with. You know, we kind of have our favorite spots, and so I was going to go to one of my favorite spots. And the next morning when Casey went out, you know, dark 30 to use the bathroom and get ready for the hunt that day, he came running back in the camper and was like, dude, there's elk screaming right across the valley from us, like right there. And this is a spot we've probably driven by at 40 miles an hour 1,000 times. So I was like, okay, that's cool. I guess that's where I'm hunting. And Casey, in his loving way, told me, you better get your ass over there and get above those elk before sunrise if you're gonna kill one of those elk. Okay, got it. So I did that, got my ass over there. And I was, you know, really kind of a hilarious mess of juggling my calls and my bow and playing cat and mouse with this bull who was digging whatever I was saying. And he's following me up this hill, this very steep hill, by the way. And the wind was blowing downhill, so I don't know if anyone else does this, it's weird. I had elk pee in my pocket, so I started spraying it all over the place. Trying to smell like an elk, not like a human. And as I keep trying to work and play with this game with this elk, I called him right into my lap, like almost literally. Eventually, you know, after a while of this, I saw him coming at me very close, and I had to kind of back up in some trees, draw my bow, and shoot him quick at 8 yards, which is close. And I was stoked. I was like, got it, I did it. I was so happy, especially after the year before. So I raced out of there and I went to go find Casey and tell him what had happened and obviously get help because I wasn't getting that out of there by myself. And when I went to find him, he was still out hunting because it was still fairly early in the morning. Spilling my beer, I'm just gonna put that down. And yeah, he was still out hunting. So I left him a note and it said, I got him. And I put the GPS coordinates on it. And I was ready to go back and I'm like, well, I'll find it by myself and he'll find me eventually. Casey can find anything in the woods. And so, as I was leaving, out walks this guy named Dustin. And Dustin is awesome. I don't know how to explain him, but he's here tonight.
Right here.
Shout out, Dustin.
Right here.
My first impression was like, this guy is like a smiling combination of the Mad Hatter and Yoda. He has this amazing way of speaking and just this like permanent smile on his face. And he was like, I'll help you. But sure, why not? Come and help me. So as we're driving back to go back to where I shot this elk and hiking in, you know, I'm like, this is weird. I am hiking into the woods with a complete stranger wearing a one-piece camouflage coverall with one elk wafer pinned on the back. And I was like, should I be doing this? Whatever, here we go. Well, Dustin turned out to be a mountain goat because I warned him about how steep this area was and he had no problem flying up this mountain. And he was also a bloodhound. He immediately, when I got to where we shot the elk, found my arrow and picks it up and it's like, is this your arrow? I was like, yes. It was green. It wasn't red. You want red. And so, as I was probably like throwing up in my mouth and just freaking out, we kept tracking this elk in silence, and Dustin was amazing. He found every little bent piece of grass and every little like pin drop of blood. And you know, it seemed like forever. We probably went 100 yards and found this elk bedded up on the other side of a ravine, still alive. Figured maybe it was a liver hit, whatever. But he was still alive and he was in thick trees and I couldn't get another shot. And so time just came to a stop. I'm pretty sure I was crying half the time. And Dustin the whole time is like, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine, we're gonna get this out. And then, you know, right about when I was just about to lose it, I started to hear turkeys in the woods. It was Casey and Curtis. That's how we call each other, using our elk reeds in the woods. And so they were trying to find us. I left them the coordinates, and they were running all around us while we're sitting there trying not to scare this elk off because I didn't want to lose another one. And so we're being quiet. They're running around us, and the elk stands up. He clearly doesn't used to hearing turkeys either, I guess. He stands up, and I thought, this is it. He's gone. And he tumbles down the hill, like feet over. It's a somersault, because it's a steep hill. And he comes to a rest in some more trees that were, like, I don't know how to describe it other than there were 2 trees right behind his shoulder, and that was the only place I could get another shot. So I drew my bow, took a deep breath, was like, you can do this, and drilled it right between those 2 trees. And Dustin and I were like, yeah, we did it! We got him! And then we called in Casey and Curtis, and they were really mad. How dare I shoot an elk at such a horrible place, steep and thick and all that, and why didn't I answer them? But then, you know, once we get past that, everyone's very excited and congratulatory, and We were all stoked. It was the first elk down of the season. And Casey's looking around and he's like, "Where did you shoot this elk from?" The whole scene was a bit weird. And Dustin, with the biggest smile on his face, made a sign like this and said, 40 yards from that arrow. And the coolest thing about that was, you know, we were 40 yards from that arrow and maybe as the crow flies, 1.5 miles from our camp in a spot that we never hunt on the National Forest, but it just reminded me that elk are wherever they're at, and you need to go get them. That's it.
Nice.
Thank you, Lora.